Checking in now, Morgan Lancotti with the Hinckley Institute of Politics as we continue our team coverage on this temporary deal to reopen the government. And Morgan, the first thing I want to talk to you about is that, it seemed like there was no end in sight just yesterday, maybe even this morning. So how all of a sudden did this give, and now we have this agreement to fund the government?
It seems, as with many things in politics, there was just a confluence of very complicated factors. Chief among them, we had some major delays. We've been hearing all about TSA and the FAA being short-staffed. And today we saw LaGuardia shut down. We saw Philadelphia airport shut down. And that hurts people. It hurts economies. And we also see those approval and disapproval ratings of the president shifting the longer that the shutdown lasts.
So was that pressure put on just one side, both sides? Do you think they were both kind of feeling the pressure and saying, all right, we got to do something here?
Yeah, we've seen polling nationwide and here in Utah that those congressional Democrats and the president were really feeling the heat. Congressional Republicans not so much, but they are tied to the president. And the longer this went down, the more these federal workers are speaking out and people are aware of how difficult it has been on those families, the more that pressure mounted.
So it just also so happens today that we had some big news drop in the Mueller investigation. Any coincidence there that, hey, here are more indictments in this Russia probe, and then all of a sudden we have an agreement as well?
This is the constant thing with this presidency and with the political news cycle, it seems. There's never just a one-story day. We always have these multiple things. Some people think it's a little bit of misdirection, trying to confuse people or distract people, but honestly, it could just be coincidental and that just major political events are happening all the time.
Well, that's definitely true.
Yes.
Major political events happening all the time.
As we well know.
So our delegation responding mostly favorably toward this. Pretty interesting what Mike Lee had to say, Senator Mike Lee, though. He said, hey, it's great that, federal workers are getting paid again and that we're reopening the government, but he was upset by the fact that this negotiation happened in secret, behind closed doors. So are we going to start to see from that now other lawmakers who now have to take this and negotiate it the next 3 weeks and say, you know what, I'm not so sure about this. We're going to see some hard feelings.
We just might, and that's been a criticism of this shutdown throughout. Earlier, when the president announced his compromise, the criticism of that was that it was really just a compromise that was worked out between him and Mitch McConnell without Democrats or other Republicans. The same with this announcement today. In the past, when we've had these major issues, we've seen a gang of 8 or a group of bipartisan lawmakers working together. We'll probably see that going forward over the next 3 weeks, but there may be some hard feelings over what just happened.
What do you make from our own 2 senators? We saw completely different votes on the resolutions in the Senate earlier in the week.
Yeah.
Senator Romney voting for both of them, Mike Lee voting for neither of them.
Yeah.
So they are on 2 different tracks here, aren't they?
And Mike Lee is often that dissenting vote. He is such a fiscal conservative. If he doesn't like the way numbers add up, he will vote no more often than not. Interestingly, Mitt Romney had a town hall in Davis County this week, and he started it by asking people whether he was too hard on the president or not hard enough. And most of the people told him he was not hard enough. So perhaps that's why he was pushing to reopen the government, try to get things rolling.
And that even comes after that op-ed that he penned earlier in the year, in which he really took aim at the president.
Right.
One of the interesting things he said was, look, I voted first for the Republican plan. That wasn't going to work. So then I went for the Democratic plan, and that's exactly what he said. He said he heard loud and clear from the people of Utah.
Right, and that town hall was in Farmington, where perhaps a lot of those federal workers from Ogden and Davis County and Weber County,
so
were coming down. So they've been in touch with those workers.
So what's the likelihood over the next 3 weeks, we're funded through February 15th, that we will see both sides come together? Clearly, they've been so far apart on this. Are they going to come together in 3 weeks?
The pressure that they have felt from the citizens might just be enough, knowing that it seems with these shutdowns, it seems like it's this bargaining tool, but there's rarely a winner. People don't like them, and they blame both sides. This immigration and border security has been something that's been debated literally for decades. We'll see if they can hammer it out in 3 weeks.
It's hard to say you can see both those sides coming together. Do you think this just ends up where President Trump goes around Congress?
It may just be that, and he announced that today. He said, if you don't come to me with that money, I will use those emergency powers. So perhaps it won't matter if Congress, but we'll also see how hard they're pushing this legislation to make it so we can't even have these government
That's
shutdowns
true.
in the future.
And that maybe Congress won't get paid during these shutdowns in the future as well.
Right.
Always appreciate your insight. Thanks so much for being here with us.
Thanks for having me.
You bet. And to learn more about our friends over at the Hinckley Institute of Politics, just head over to our website. We have some links for you there, abc4.com.